in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool.
I've been practicing hospital medicine for over 10 years, and I will tell you that not once have I ever taken into account somebody's personal lifestyle choices when determining whether or not they are deserving of taking from the pool or gaining access to healthcare. Let's get into it. What's up, everyone? Mike Muellner here. I'm an internal medicine doctor from Los Angeles, California, and today I want to talk about this idea of people bringing disease upon themselves. And I think that's what Robert F. Kennedy was getting at with that statement that was made in response to a question that Senator Bernie Sanders asked him, is healthcare a human right, yes or no? And then to that, he brings up this concept or idea of people smoking cigarettes, right, for an extended period of time, and then maybe bringing disease upon themselves, cancer, heart attack, stroke, whatever. In any event, these individuals are still taking from the pool, taking from the taxpayers, right, getting access to healthcare, even though their lifestyle choices have likely led to them bringing disease upon themselves. Wow, that was a very wordy way to describe that. But I will tell you, as a hospitalist, I work every single day in the hospital, and I don't care if you're here in the hospital with pancreatitis from a gallstone, which is probably 50% of the cases I see, or if you're here with pancreatitis as a result of heavy alcohol use over an extended period of time, which is perhaps the other 50%. Either way, you're going to get the same care. I don't think that one group of patients is more deserving of healthcare than the other just because their medical condition was the result of something out of their control, like a gallstone, versus something that you can seemingly control, alcohol use. And this whole idea of bringing disease upon yourself, you could say that about so many different things, right? Like you could say that if I am skateboarding and I have a fall, maybe I deserved it because I'm trying to do 1980s style freestyle skateboarding in 2025, and I deserved to fall and break a wrist or whatever, although I didn't break my wrist here, but the fall did hurt. You could say that I'm at fault for that, but does that mean that I'm less deserving of healthcare because this was the result of my own actions? I don't think so. And I think the same thing applies to somebody who gets pancreatitis as a result of heavy alcohol use, or maybe somebody who develops lung cancer from smoking. Just because a disease was influenced by your lifestyle, that doesn't mean that you're any less deserving of healthcare. Now, I'm not saying that we should just ignore lifestyle entirely and eat McDonald's hamburgers all day long, wash it down with a carton of cigarettes and an IPA beer. Of course not, but I don't think that lifestyle should play a role in determining who is deserving of healthcare and who is not. However, I'll be real with you guys. Sometimes this does come up, and one example I can think of has to do with this. Yes, this is a liver that I am holding upside down. Correct orientation would be more like this. Anyways, liver disease, advanced liver disease, cirrhosis, to the point where somebody needs a liver transplant. If the liver disease is brought on from alcohol use, most transplant centers will insist that you abstain from alcohol for at least 6 months before you're considered eligible for a transplant. And this is a big deal because when the liver fails, it takes the other organs down with it. Oftentimes you'll end up with hepatorenal syndrome where the kidneys fail also, and it can very rapidly lead to death. And I've seen a lot of people over all this time practicing medicine that have actually died while they're waiting a liver transplant, or ended up having to go on hospice because of recent alcohol use made them ineligible to even be considered for transplant. Now, this might be changing in the future. There are some transplant centers that will consider transplanting a liver even in somebody who has not abstained from alcohol for the typically required 6 months. But seems to be more the exception rather than the norm. And I got to tell you, personally, I do question the validity of sticking to this rule of 6 months of alcohol abstinence. Now, I get it, right? Livers are hard to come by. It's a massive surgery. The last thing you want is to transplant a liver only to have it fail because somebody continued to drink alcohol. But still, there's not a whole lot of science that really mandates that there's some magic about abstaining from alcohol for 6 months. How is that any better than 5 months or even 4 months of abstinence? And in the meantime, people are dying while they're awaiting eligibility to receive a liver transplant. So I do think that this might be changing in the future, but for the time being, advanced liver disease and liver transplant is a time where one's lifestyle choices do factor in their eligibility to receive certain treatments. Okay, that's about all I got for this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that doctors should take into account a person's individual lifestyle choices when determining who is eligible for certain treatments? Or do you think that it should just be a non-issue? Everybody, all human beings should get medical care. Let me know in the comments down below.